Well, the crypto market has had quite a crazy 24 hours as a result of all of the news that we've been getting regarding the US, Canada, Mexico, and China, and all of these crazy tariffs. Now, we did see some news yesterday that was pretty good, and we did see some news yesterday that wasn't so good, in which we saw, of course, the good news being that the US was going to pause on some of these tariffs that it was planning on imposing on Canada and Mexico, as long as they did work with Trump regarding things like drug trafficking and border and blah, blah, blah. Now, the bad news, though, was that China said, don't care what you say. Now that you're going to implement a tariff on us, we're going to impose a tariff on you, in which they did somewhat retaliate, probably leading to some, the beginning of some sort of mini trade war like we've seen with them multiple times throughout history. Now, as a result of this good news and not so good news, we've seen the market really pick up in volatility. We saw dumps and pumps. We've seen some cryptos doing good and some cryptos not doing good, leaving a lot of investors wondering what in the world is going on and kind of what are we looking at right now? How is all of this shaping out? And as I've been also having that question and I'm doing my analysis, I'm starting to recognize that a battle is actually happening right now that will likely determine where this market does go for not only just the next couple of days, but very well possibly the next couple of weeks or possibly even months. And so because of that, I wanted to talk about exactly what I'm seeing through all of this craziness, what I'm seeing throughout all of this volatility, and what this battle is that is going to be so important. And so with that said, we have a good bit to get into today. So let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into it. So looking at Bitcoin's chart, what you all know is that over the last month or two, we have been talking about what's called an HMZ, a high manipulation zone. I told you all that this is going to be a range in which I'm not going to be doing much. I'm not going to be doing much leverage trading, much big buying, much big selling, nothing. And the reason being is because typically speaking, when you're in an HMZ, you are going to see everything under the sun thrown at you to try to liquidate you. You're going to see pumps, you're going to see dumps, you're going to see micro breakouts, you're going to see liquidity hunts, you're going to see micro fakeouts and macro fakeouts. You're going to see everything being thrown at you. They're going to throw the book at you because in these situations, I believe the lizard people who manipulate these markets are trying to force you to get liquidated. They want you to get emotional. They want to take your crypto. And so knowing that the odds are stacked against me, I don't do much in here. I just wait them out. Now, throughout the process of waiting this out, we've really been, hitting the nail on the head recently, right? Finding these support levels and finding these resistance levels and not getting too caught up in it. Well, as we have been studying it, especially over the last couple days here, what you can see is that we've started to get a lot of volatility now. It was taking previously a little bit more time to go from the bottom to the top and from the top to the bottom, right? We were consolidating and we were staying within these ranges for a while up until the last couple days. You see, over the last couple days, we had this little moment where we went straight from the top, basically straight to the bottom as a result of this freak out from the tariffs that was then manipulated and amplified even worse. And as we did see this moment right here, where we just sent it straight from the top of the HMZ to the bottom of the HMZ, it started to, kind of paint a picture for me. Now, the picture that is painting for me is that there is a big battle happening between the bulls and the bears, one that most people won't recognize. Something that you can notice if you go look at, the liquidation levels and notice how there's a huge fight between people longing the market and people shorting the market. And I'm under the belief that whoever wins this battle is very likely going to have a lot of determination of where this market goes for a while. And so what I want to do for you today is I want to paint the picture of the battle for you so you can see what that battle is, where it's happening, and what we need to be watching going forward. Now, in order to do this, let's just head over to a fresh chart, okay? Let's head over to a fresh chart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting this picture for you. Now, the battle that's happening between the bulls and the bears right now is being held at these key zones called Fibonacci zones, okay? If you don't know what the Fibonaccis are, quite simply, what they do is give you predictive levels as to where you might see resistance or support. So quite simply, where are the levels to the top side that the price might get rejected and sent back down off of? And where are the levels to the bottom side that the price might get rejected off of and pushed back upwards, okay? These are just rejection or continuation zones. And what we can actually notice is that if we start drawing our Fibonacci's in right here, there's a battle happening. The price of Bitcoin is being squeezed in between two key Fibonacci levels. And I believe whichever direction we break out of first and continue there is very likely going to determine the general sentiment and midterm direction of Bitcoin. Let me explain. So what we can see here is we're going to start drawing in our Fibonacci's. What we're going to do is we're going to draw the Fibonacci's to the top side. We're going to draw in the Fibonacci's to the bottom side so you can start to see that constraint that I'm talking about. Now, the way in which I'm going to do this is I'm going to go to the top side first. And when you want to see what happens to the top side, what you need to do is you need to start at the top side. So if you want to see where your resistance is based on the Fibonacci's to the top side, you start at the top side. And you're going to get your Fibonacci tool, which is this one right here, Fibonacci retracement, and you're going to click right up there next to that high. And then without needing to hold or touch your mouse, all you're going to do is just move your mouse all the way back down to the bottom. So you're going from the top to the bottom, and that's going to give you a clear range. Now, my settings on my Fibonacci's look just like this because I remove all levels except for the golden zone. The golden zone lies between the 618 to the 786 Fibonacci retracement levels. This is the only majorly important level of Fibonacci retracement that I think there is. That is subjective. It is not objective, but objectively, I have noticed that this one has more of an impact on the price than any other one. So therefore, I deem it the most important. Now, what that means is that we have a key level of resistance based on the Fibonacci tool sitting directly above us. Now, I'm not talking about just directly above us. I'm talking about if we zoom all the way in. If you don't believe these sort of things, you can see this. The second we touched it, and I mean the second that we touched that golden zone, the price of Bitcoin immediately got rejected back to the downside. Immediately. So there's your confluence. There's your validation. There's your verification that this isn't just all stars and rainbows. This is real analysis, okay? Now, what you're going to do is we now need, of course, to find the bottom side. We have the resistance. Let's find the support. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in and we're going to look for our range low. So where did we create the most recent low? Because you remember how when we were trying to find the resistance, the top side, we started at the top. Now, if we're trying to find support, we need to start at the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our most recent macro low, which would be right here, okay, from a macro perspective. Not this one. This is micro. This is more macro. And we're going to draw on our Fibonacci's from this low up to this high, the same high that we started the next range at. So we're going to go to our Fibonacci tool. We're going to draw in our Fibonacci's to the downside. Now, what does that give us? What you can see here is it then gives us a clear, identifiable range. Okay, it gives us a clear and identifiable range as to where we have top side resistance, the golden zone to the top side, and bottom side support, the golden zone to the bottom side. This is the battle. You have the bulls who are trying to hold support here. Let me see, the bulls. They're trying to hold support here and use this as a station to push the price upwards. You have the bears who are up here who are trying to use this as their station to try to reject the price and force it back downwards. Now, in periods like this, throughout history, whenever you finally are able to clear a range, it will typically start to open the door for a much bigger move. When you clear the golden zone, it opens the door for what's called a Fibonacci extension. So a Fibonacci extension says, okay, once you clear the golden zone, you clear the golden zone and then you clear the high that we used to create this range. How high can you go? Once you clear the high that started this range, how high can you go? That's where Fibonacci's come in. And similarly to the downside. When the price of a crypto is going down, if you lose the bottom side golden zone, which is the support, your Fibonacci's will say, how low can you go? So, how far down can this go as a result of losing the golden zone? So put simply, what this means is that if we see Bitcoin's price either break to the top side of the golden zone or the bottom side of the golden zone, it's much more likely that not only is it going to go down, but it's going to go down rather far, right? Generally speaking, when you break the golden zone, it opens the door for an extension, which generally means a much bigger move in that direction. And so what we can see here is if we actually look at our Fibonacci extensions, the Fibonacci tool says that if Bitcoin's price is capable of working itself back up and breaking above $105,000 and $105,500, the door then opens for a push all the way up to $115,000. Similarly, if Bitcoin loses $93,000, the door then opens for a move all the way to $85,000. So do you see now what this battle is that I'm talking about? Do you now see why this is so important? Because if we see Bitcoin's price break one of these ranges, the door will then open for it to continue much further in that direction. Now remember, we've been looking at the HMZ, and I want you to remember those numbers: 115,000, 85,000. And if we go back to look at our HMZ, what do you see? If we do see 115,000 or 85,000, that very well could determine the breakout and the finalization of being within the HMZ. Now, is it just that simple? Am I saying that if Bitcoin's price clears 105,000, we're guaranteed to get out of the HMZ? No, that is not what I'm saying. But I am saying it is much more likely. And it's the possibility of it happening is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But does that mean that if we break, say, 105,000, that you go all in? No. It just means that you need to start preparing for the opportunity that a move upward starts happening. Well, how do you prepare for that? Well, one, you could start getting profit-taking strategies set in place. If we break $105,000, and that means that we very well may start to try to push up towards 115K, maybe start preparing to take some profit along the way, right? Maybe that's your strategy. Or if you're shorting the market and we clear this golden zone, maybe you start deleveraging out of that short trade. Because knowing that the price might continue upwards, that means that that short trade's gonna lose. Because quite frankly, guys, if we go look, there are billions of dollars in liquidations. There's over $7 billion on the 7-day liquidation sheet if we go to $110,000, meaning over $7 billion of people will be liquidated if we go to $110,000. That doesn't say $115,000, right? And so that's another way you could prepare. Maybe if we clear the golden zone, you start deleveraging out of those short positions, knowing the risk of it starting to go up. Now, the opposite, what if it starts going down? If we start seeing Bitcoin coming down and losing $93,000, and guys, when I say losing, I don't mean spending, an hour outside of it or even 4 hours outside of it. I mean, we're getting daily confirmed closes below or above these levels. Real breakouts, not stuff like this, not wicks, real breakouts. But if we see Bitcoin's price coming back down and losing 93,000, got to start preparing for it. Does that mean sell everything? No. Because we have had periods like just yesterday where it will recover. And if you sold everything right here, you're living in a lot of regret right now, right? But it could mean, okay, maybe I need to start getting some cash ready. Maybe we are about to head towards $85,000 to start liquidating some of these long traders because, mind you, there's $5 billion between now and $87,000 worth of liquidations. And maybe I need to start doing a little bit of, purchasing while we do see Bitcoin's price start coming back this way. Or the opposite. Maybe you're long right now. Maybe you have a long leverage trade open right now. And you're going to say, okay, we start losing this golden zone. Maybe I want to deleverage out of that position a little bit because now it's getting risky. The momentum is shifting out of my direction right now. Maybe it's risky. And that's what I mean. I'm not talking about making huge dramatic things like, oh, if we break 105,000, go all in on 100x leverage. And I'm not saying if we lose 93,000, go all in on 100x leverage short trade or sell everything or buy everything right here. That's not what I'm saying. The game of technical analysis isn't to say, okay, if this happens, there's a 100% chance of this happening. No, it's to identify momentum shifts. And if we see Bitcoin's price break one of these first and hold outside of it, again, a real breakout, the momentum is shifting heavily in the direction that it went in. And that generally can mean that some sort of breakout could very well be on the way that we need to start preparing for. And so through all of the chaos and the craziness and all of the pumps and the dumps that we've been seeing over the last 24 hours, I'm really ignoring it. I don't care if Bitcoin pumps or dumps while we're in between these two ranges. But once we finally see a breakout of either the top side or the bottom side, it is going to very likely tell us what direction Bitcoin is going in, at least for a while. And in addition to that, it may even give us a signal that the breakout of the HMZ, the high manipulation zone, could be on the way. The longer we stay in this, the more likely it becomes we break out. And there's reason to believe that the breakout could be coming sooner than later, especially when we do start getting major breakouts of one of these golden zones. So I want you to watch the golden zone extremely closely. That is your homework for today. Watch the golden zone. See how it plays out. See what direction we break out from. Because whatever direction we do, although it's not guaranteed, the likelihood of us continuing in that direction and going far in that direction gets much higher. I'll obviously be here to update you as it does play out. And I will also let you know, I do have good news. We did go ahead and revamp my previous Twitter account. So especially over on Twitter, we will be giving you a ton of updates as we get closer and closer to breaking out of this golden zone. So again, I want you to watch it extremely closely. Do not ignore this, because how this plays out, I'm telling you, whoever wins this battle is going to be very indicative of what's going to happen within this market for at least a while. So I'll keep you updated there. I do have two things for you before you go. One thing that I will let you know is that if you do want extra access to some of this info, I will tell you, I was doing purchases on Bitcoin's price, on Bitcoin and ETH and many more right here. Not only did I say it on the live stream, so stay tuned for the live streams, but I also posted it over here on the in the school. In the school, I told them I was doing purchases on Bitcoin and ETH and Solana and SWI and ADA, Ondo, a large purchase on Ethereum and more. I also give them a bunch of information about what's going on in the market, how things are playing out, my thoughts, and much more. And you can get all of that and much, much more, guys. At our school, we have one very simple mission. We take crypto investors just like yourselves. We give you courses, coaching classes, live streams, workshops, signals, research, and Q&As to help you refine your strategies. Because guys, listen, spraying and praying in this market, not going to get you anywhere. A strategy is what generates gains. And I'm not talking about little gains. I'm talking about big gains. I'm talking about life-changing gains. That's what we have been seeing over here in this community. There's now been a recorded over $2.4 million worth of profits that we have seen within this community just within coming up on 2.5 months. And obviously there are losses and there are lessons. Those things do happen and we talk about them there. But if you want to become a part of this and if you want to get going yourself today, best part about it is you can start for as little as $5 a month and you can get your money back guaranteed if you don't enjoy it. So make sure that you do go check that out down below if you're interested. And the last thing I have for you, if you do want to get a 10% bonus on all first time deposits between $1,000 and or $500 and $100,000, check out the BTCC link down below. Guys, if you do sign up today on BTCC, for example, and deposit $2,000, they're going to give you $200 back on the spot to start trading with. So say, for example, again, you put in $2,000, you get $200 back, you turn that $200 into $500. All the profit you made from that bonus is yours to keep. You can withdraw it, spend it, reinvest it, do whatever you want with it. It's literally an opportunity to get free gains during a bull market and free trades. So feel free to go check that out and let me know what you think. It's a platform that's been around for 12 or 13 years. Very smooth, very slick, and very clean. So go check that out. Let me know what you think. Go follow me on Twitter over at TylerHillYT. And of course, do your homework. Pay very close attention to what happens in this battle because it's going to be, again, very important in deciding how this all plays out. So again, I'll be here for you every step of the way as it all does play out. So make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.